Okay everyone, if you've come for this video then you're probably here for two things, or definitely one of them, the Elektron Syntakt and how we're going to implement Loopy Pro as a control surface for the Syntakt. Okay, so there's a couple of things I want to point out. Firstly, this is a mobile setup. The Syntakt is running off this little battery here. So I've mentioned this in previous videos, but yeah, this is powering the Syntakt, no problem. And you'll get a decent amount of time out of this. This little battery here probably going to give you a couple of hours, which is good enough for just, you know, some lunch break stuff, or I don't know, sitting in a cafe for a bit or whatever, you know. It's kind of nice. I mean, I find when I'm sketching ideas and stuff, an hour is enough for my brain sort of burns out, you know. So yeah, this is cool. So this is just to demonstrate this happening. Okay, so what's on that subject? I'll put a link in the description this time for this thing here, because this is a little adapter which basically connects to a USB-C cable, and it just it's got a little piece inside of it which just converts the voltage to the correct voltage for this device here, which I think is 12 volts. But yeah, so anyway, links in descriptions and stuff. It costs about $20 or something, but it's, when you buy one, it will work for all Elektron boxes pretty much. They all seem to be powered the same, probably with a couple of exceptions, but your main ones, Syntakt, Digitakt, Digitone, I think Octatrack as well. All that info is in the website. But yeah, I think that's good. Okay, the setup. Let's do that first. Okay, so just let me make sure. Okay, so we'll start record arming this after. But okay, of course we don't need the iPad for this to be mobile. We've done that just by adding that power bank. Okay, so mobile setup achieved. But what I like to do, because I use the iPad in all of the setups that I do, so what we've got here is we've got our USB hub, and this has got some power coming into it, so we're powering the iPad, so this will never die. And then connected to that is only one USB cable, and that's the Syntakt USB there. So that's hooked up to the hub, and that's how the iPad is communicating with the Syntakt. Okay, for this to work, there's some stuff we have to do here. So we're going to come into settings, and I'm really relying on this phone camera being good enough to zoom in on this when I actually edit this video. So let's see how that goes. But we come to settings. Now there's two things really we need to make sure are good. For later in this video, coming to this MIDI config is useful, because here, without going too much and turn this into a Syntakt tutorial, here we can manage our clock and things like that. So if you ever like hooking this up to different devices and you want it to receive or send clock, or, you know, be the master, be the slave, or whatever, then you can do that in this menu here. So, and this lets you manage transport as well. So yeah, your sync in the MIDI menu, MIDI config, your sync handles all that stuff. And then we got ports, so you can define how MIDI is coming in and leaving the Syntakt as well. I think mostly these are pretty much default. What I am changing your channels as well. If you're wondering, track 1, what MIDI channel is that receiving on, you can see it here. You can see what you need to set on a controller or from a sequencer. If you want to sequence any of these, you can see default track 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and that goes all the way through. But you can change that and you can edit that in here. And actually, audio routing. So when we're doing this, essentially what we're doing, before I get into the whole how the audio is flowing, we're sending everything here to the iPad. Then the iPad is going to process all of that, and then it's going to send it back. We're monitoring here, so we're using the audio interface element of the Syntakt now. Now this is exactly the same setup for a Digitakt, okay? I had a Digitakt before this, and actually I traded the Digitakt for this, and yeah, I just followed what I'd worked out on the Digitakt here, and it totally works. So there's one important thing here, and okay, so USB out can go to main. We're going to need that to here, and I'm listening on the headphones here, okay? But internal to main, we need to turn this off, because if you leave it on, you're going to get the audio will come here, get processed and come back, but at the same time any audio that's come from this device is going to come out here, so you're actually getting two copies of the same thing. So if you got a kick and you don't turn this off, you're going to get the kick twice, because it's going to be sent out over USB to the iPad and back to your headphones, and this one's going to get sent to the headphones as well. So you're going to get two versions of that sound. So if the Syntakt generates it and you don't set internal to main to off, if the Syntakt's generating that sound, you're going to get it 2 times. So when we do this, we've got to set int to main, that's got to be off. Okay, anything else useful here? You can increase the volume of your USB audio here. So I actually have it plus 12. I think it defaults a little lower than that, maybe even defaults at 0, I'm not sure, but I found I needed to increase that. Anyway, we can come out here. Now we just have one thing left, and that's in system, and that's in our USB config. So we're not using overbridge. Unfortunate thing about Elektron devices and the iPad is no overbridge, so we cannot multi-track out over USB, which is a real shame. We just get the stereo. I can show you that here. Actually, this is what it looks like. The Digitakt and the Syntakt, they're the only two that I know, so I can't speak for others, but they present like this, just a stereo out. But okay, no problem. Yeah, we work what we got. So USB MIDI, so that's just saying that the USB cable is only doing MIDI. Last option, USB audio MIDI, and that's the one we want, so make sure that's checked. So if you've done all these steps, then once you activate this one, that's when you'll see the Syntakt here, because you've turned on the audio interface of the Syntakt. So now we've got a portable standalone device, but we're processing things here. But what's real nice about this, just come out here, is as you know, these tracks can all be turned into MIDI tracks, so you can then send MIDI, because we've got this now, we've got this all set up now. We can send MIDI from here to here, and we can then add software synths as well. So if you're looking for, this is monophonic, so if you need something polyphonic, just load up a synth on your iPad and you can sequence it from the Syntakt. So that's pretty cool. And right, okay, so now we're connected. If we look at the MIDI matrix here also, we can see we've got some stuff set up here. Now, basically, with what we've got already in this video, you're kind of good to go. You're already sending audio and MIDI to the iPad, and the iPad can send MIDI to the Syntakt as well. So, and it's also sending audio back to the Syntakt, and everything's coming out here, and you're good. So at this point, you can just start experimenting and making music. It works great. But there's one more thing I want to cover, and that is we're going to use an app called Loopy Pro, and we're going to use it to make this control surface. Now, I've done the jam that's loaded in here already. I loaded it up to YouTube a while back, so this is that project. High chance I can't recreate it how I caught it in that video in that moment. It's a jam, you know. It's these things are never the same twice, and I'm not actually trying to do a complete jam with this, but I want to show you some stuff. So what's really cool about this is okay, so the Syntakt is not just 8 tracks of audio, it's actually 12, right? Now, for me to access these, I have to hold the function key and press this LFO, which gives me the secondary function, which is the mixer. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got tracks 1 to 8, and I can control them here. That's really cool. But what if I want to turn up this track, like track 1 and track 9, at the same time? I can't do that because I don't have track 9 here. I can't. There's no way to do it, because to access the volumes for these 4 tracks, I have to go to the next page. Now I got 9 through to 12. Yeah. And if I want to access the external input, then, because we've got 2 inputs here, I've got to go to the 3rd page, and it's all here. And yeah, taking nothing away from this device is great, but there's, I don't know, some stuff here is so immediate and so great, but this definitely kind of seems to force you into a workflow of you're working with mutes mostly, you know, or I am. I'll use the word you a lot when I'm really just talking about myself, so just let you know. But this is a thing, and that's cool, that's fine, no problem. But there's another way, and one of my favorite musical devices actually is the Roland TR8S or TR8. They're both great because, well, faders, right? Faders are the best. And I was thinking, how can I try and, of course it's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. It's quite nice, the level of control here. And so I'm going to show you what this is, and then let's see if we can make a couple of these things come together. So without hitting play on this and actually doing any noise or anything, I'm going to come back to our first page, right? So track 1 is here. So when I turn this, if you look here, yeah, you can see all of these grey ones are not in use in this jam, but whatever, we hook them up anyway. So okay, I didn't program this one because I'm not using it, but you get the point. you can see here all the levels have changed, and but now if I just pull them all down, you see that apart from track 4, apologies, but that's two-way. Like these are updating each other, so yeah, that's really nice. It's such a simple thing, but actually getting that two-way communication was a bit difficult initially, but it turned out the solution was the simplest one of all. But yeah, so I've set these, and these are some track mutes here, and so, and I've got these. This I've mapped to, okay, so I've mapped this to some filters, right? And the min-max values are not 0 to 127, they're more like 40 to 60, okay, to keep it kind of subtle. So this whole fader is just doing a small amount of, not modulation, but it's only affecting the filters a small amount. And this one is, so a great thing about the Syntakt is it has this analog effects block. It's really cool. So I can send stuff to it. So okay, 9 is the kick, so that doesn't go in, but all these tracks up here, I've sent them in. And if we look at track 10 next to the kick, I can just turn that on and off, right? So I'm deciding what's going into this effects block. Now, what's really, really cool about the effects block is these 4 steps on the sequencer, they are triggering this amp envelope, and it's just an inverted envelope, but this is essentially sidechain. So every time we hit this step, so the kick is not coming in here, right? So the kick is free, it's not being affected by this, but other things are. So when the kick hits on every fourth quarter, whatever, sorry, late, but you know what I mean, this is 4/4, so yeah, standard stuff. We're ducking everything else, and it's just a nice easy way to do sidechain. Now, how much a sidechain affects something is dictated by this depth dial here, and yeah, again, I've just midi-learned this, so this is a sidechain amount basically, and yeah, coming out here, I'm returning to track 10 because track 10's actually got a bit of a progression, and this track is longer. Oh no, maybe it's not 10. 8, 11. So yeah, so this is 64 steps, and the scale has been halved. So it's going on quite a while, but it's kind of like this has got a bit of a chord progression going on. So I always want to know, following these markers here, when we're about to hit back to number 1. So I tend to leave this jam just kind of sat on track 11. So anyway, and we got this fader here, and yeah, again, I am just I have this app called Transit. It's really cool. Just you can build your own little transition effects, just like using a high pass filter and throwing some other effect stuff. I mean, there's lots and lots of possibilities here. You can really build this out, but yeah, the whole thing's controlled by like one big knob, which controls all of these, and you can determine how much one rotation of that dial will utilize the things that you put in here, so you can really tune it. And yeah, it's nice. I use it very, very simply, but that is mapped to here. So mostly, probably, I think it's best to reference the jam video I've done already previously, and there we can understanding this control surface, you can see how I'm using it. And now how it was made was it was actually quite simple, but my first step when I was making this, so let me just make sure I do, yeah, we got that screen recording, nice. I just come here and I just Google for the MIDI implementation of the Syntakt, and from this I can learn a lot about everything. If I want to map something, if I want to map something, I'm just thinking, okay, this is cool, I want to control this, I want to control this, and yeah, and then I would come here and just find out what the MIDI implementation is for that parameter. And then with that knowledge, I go back and use those CC numbers to set stuff up. So yeah, all the tracks are on, track mutes are on CC94, for example. And we have synth and filter and amplitude, the LFOs, effects, external, and it's all here. And there's lots and lots of it's really complete. So coming back here, let's look at this. So I'm going to show you if I go to edit, and now we can see what I've done here is I think I'm getting some. Oh no, that is the full screen. Okay, so here's an example. This one slider here, this one fader here, is doing 3 different jobs, and it's sending CC to 3 different filters, and we can see the min max values here, and you can see how they're set. So they're all kind of different, and but that one fader is doing 3 jobs. That's great. With one fader you can control 3 things. Honestly, actually, the output of this fader was not so great. I tend to just use it a little bit. If I use it too much, everything gets a bit harsh. One last comment on the way I'm doing this, and this is just a personal preference to me, but the color coding. When I made this, I was just happy it worked, and I didn't put too much thought into it. Also, I'm working with an iPad mini, so I don't have so much space. But red is kicking bass. These purples are kind of rim shotty, wooden sounding, plucky things. The orange ones are more metallic stuff, and this blue one is kind of like a plucky raindrop sounding thing. This is a kind of background snare where I've taken all the punch out of it, and it's just really washy and floating around in the background. I've got a trig controlling this, which just hits whenever, completely random, not that often, but it's quite nice. And and these grey ones just tell me that I don't need to care because I'm not using them. So, and the way I've laid it out is just these top 8 faders here are these tracks here, these 4 here are these 4 here. The Syntakt, these are not actually audio tracks, they're more like triggers for, you can have different amounts of retrig. So if you're sitting on a snare track, then you can retrig it there, or retrig it more, or even more, or even more. They do more than that, but yeah, for audio you're just 1 to 12. So yeah, that's I'll close this down, but being able to do this, that just made all the difference to me, I think that's really nice. Now, if you're to set something up here, I'm very curious about this track 4. I don't know why this never got. Oh no, we work in the. Oh, not strange. Okay, well, let's see. Let's edit this. Now, once I had them all in, all I needed to do actually for all these faders was just midi-learn, and it's just like any other midi-learn. And then close that. But this one seems to be immune to sending the signal back the way. I'm not entirely sure why, but let's not troubleshoot in a little demo video. But those steps did work for everything else. and yeah, here's some more boards here. But yeah, it's you just mapping stuff, So you can either just tap here and click midi-learn and then do what we just did there, or one more time, hang on a minute, because that's kind of really boring me. Let's delete that. Now, along the bottom here are all the widgets that you can add, but as you can see, we're just working with the faders and these little buttons. So I'm going to throw one more in here. Great. So this is blank, and I just want to see. I'm going to come and edit. Okay, so it reads the MIDI, no problem. Close this. Okay, we good. But we don't update here. Okay, I'll figure that out another time. But anyway, it's not important. But yeah, so I got control from here. Right, so the other way is this board. We can totally mess with this. Just delete columns. Okay, so you can start with nothing. So here, there's a use case for this where you can add these clip launchers. Now, Loopy Pro is all about this. It's like live recording loops of audio, and I think I haven't done it yet, but we're sending the audio here. So there will be a workflow where you can send audio into this, then automatically loop it while you make a track transition here or something like that. Like, definitely you can do that stuff. Let's add one of these, and yeah, and you've got these guys as well. So, and these are one shots. You can load one shots into here. So yeah, you can see that's it, recording a loop. And let's say we're not MIDI learning, we want to do this the other way. We can just come into the edit here, tap it, and then we can decide exactly what we're doing. So we want to do a value change, but you've got so many clip actions here, and so MIDI actions, send MIDI message, and then you just set your target. So MIDI out what type of MIDI message, program change, CC. Then you set your MIDI channel, set the CC number, set your min-max value, and you're done. And then whatever you've configured, it will just do it. So yeah, just a great tool, really good. And setting up, is pretty easy, and you can resize all these things, and there are good tutorials out there on this app, and I don't actually use this app with its looping feature at all. So yeah, to me it's got a different use case, but there's other apps which are doing this, for sure. We have TouchOS C and Surface Builder, and there's apps that do this already, but for me, I just preferred this one. I think this functionality in Loopy Pro is amazing. I think they have a really nice aesthetic. I think the way they implement it and the controls that the parameters they present to you, the developers present, that we can attach to these, are many but very easy to understand and easy to configure. And yeah, it's just really nice. And yeah, there will be an iPad upgrade at some point in the near future, and with more screen real estate, I will do more. But yeah, you can use these to remember all this stuff, these faders and parameters within apps that you're hosting in AUM, and absolutely you can map all of that to one of these control surfaces. One other thing before we mess around with this, I wanted to show you one thing. Okay, so AUM will synchronize clock over Ableton Link, but in all other cases it wants to be the master, it doesn't want to be the slave. So you cannot send clock from here to here, but you can. Let me see if I've got the app actually installed, because I'm not sure if I do, but there are workarounds. Let me see. I didn't install it, but if you have another app, there's another audio unit app, which let me find it. It's okay. We can. Audio Bus. Yeah. Okay. This one. So Audio Bus is a very similar thing. Honestly, many people probably be using one over the other. I don't know. I often with apps, it's all about the one that you came to first, right? And I came to AUM first, and it does everything I need. Well, apart from this one thing, and that is just the ability to send clock from here to here. Now, I can just hit play in AUM and make it so this receives transport, and we're good to go. But if for any reason I wanted it to be the other way, I can do it, and you don't necessarily need to do it with this app. But okay, sorry, I haven't been using this. So, but here's an example. You can basically tell this that you can, somewhere in here, there you set the you can set sync settings. So you can enable Ableton Link here and MIDI clock sync, so MIDI clock sources, and you can set the Syntakt, okay, or the Digitact or whatever, and then you can set your destinations, and then because AUM has Ableton Link, then we would just tap the BPM marker, tap these 3 dots, and we will see Ableton Link. So we have a connection, so we're connected to one peer, and the only peer right now that's actually broadcasting any Ableton Link broadcast is that other app there. So it's a bit hacky, but you can send all your clock to here, and then via Ableton Link this can forward it to AUM, and you don't need to add anything to this. That can just exist to only do that one thing, and then when you change your BPM here, it will change here. So see, we just killed the link, but yeah, so anyway, it's okay when we're recording. In this particular jam, actually, it doesn't really matter because I'm not using any delay. So when you're using time-based effects like delay, then yeah, you're gonna want to have like you're gonna want this synced to the tempo of your track. So when if you use, but probably you do tempo sync on your delay or any other time-based plugins, then everything works. Everything's in time. So yeah, you'll need that then. But actually in this jam, not so much. So okay, I think I've talked a lot, and we've not made any noise whatsoever, but I just wanted to kind of put a bit of an explainer on this setup. Probably I could have explained this much better, and yeah, the technical difficulties with track 4 and whatever, but yeah, we'll use this now, and at this point I think we understand the routing of everything, the setup, and how this is going to control this, what these colors mean, why they're laid out like this, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to try and perform a complete track here or nothing. I just want to bring in some sounds and you can hear things doing their job, and that's it. If you want to see this jam, just go check out my videos, and the Elektron video is in one of my most recent videos. It's only about 3 weeks ago or something. So yeah, you'll find it. But this was what I was using to do it. So okay, cool. At this point, I'm gonna headphone up, and then we'll just everything is doing what it's meant to do. So yeah, I'm gonna hit play here, and we'll just start. Okay, thank you. I'm also gonna hit record here. Yeah, just this track for this jam. Okay. Okay, let's hit play now. Okay, so you get the idea. But that's basically how I'm using it, and it's just nice to, I know, make it a bit more like a tier 8S, you know. But it's very simple, and yeah, I think, yeah. Okay, great. Everything did record. Good. Yeah, I think that really sums up this video, and I think that's a pretty complete breakdown of this setup. But again, this is portable. This ran off a battery, and we handled all the audio here, and we processed everything. And just before I go, a quick app rundown. I had intentions to set up buses for things and be a bit more complicated about this, but actually I could have done all of this with one channel strip. This just flows into this, and you could do it all in one. But some EQ, some saturation, some compression, another EQ, our transition effects, and a limiter. That's it. So yeah, that's it for this video. And wow, if you made it to the end of this one, well done. That was a small amount of information in quite a long time, but yeah, thank you so much. And let's see, maybe I make some more of these. Okay, right, bye.